Hi everyone, Aaron with AOP Tech. And we have a new year. We're in January, which means it's nothing other than term paper season, which is really going to be starting off a series we're going to be doing on cheating. So plagiarism, cheating, the digital environment, how to catch the kids when they do it, and how to go about ways of preventing it. So that's what we're going to be talking about over the series. And today we're going to be starting off with Google Docs. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at probably one of my favorite features in Google Docs. Now this feature is in Google Docs, Google Slides, and Google Sheets. And it is what is called, it used to be called revision history, and now it's called version history. This is a really easy way to take a look at really how a document was created. This is perfect for group work. It's probably one of my go-to resources when I assign my students group work in the classroom, because it really easily allows me to see exactly what every single student did. The students cannot delete this. This is a beautiful thing. From the beginning of the document, it's a running record of every change, every single thing that was done. And if you know what to look for, you can catch those kiddos if they're doing something they shouldn't. So I have two examples. I'm going to show you what a document should look like, and then I'm going to show you a document that was plagiarized. So I'm going to jump into, this is an article I wrote for the AOP Tech newsletter. And I certainly encourage you to visit aoptech.org/newsletter and check out our newsletters. They're really great. And there's two ways to access a revision history. Now, up at the top of the page, I can see the fact that last edit was made. This is a new feature that if you haven't been to the Google Docs in a while, you may not recognize. It sometimes it changes to where it says saving ... So if I click on here, I'm going to get the version history here. Now I'll show you the other way I can get to this, and that is by going to File, and my camera's in the way, going to Version History, and then See Version History. For those of you maybe remember, it was called Version History, or Revision History. Now it's Version History. And so the nice thing is, and we can look on the side of this document, you notice the fact that this is a document that I worked on, and I have my coworker Alyssa to go through and edit and clean it up for me. And we can actually see that Google has color coordinated her as purple, me as green. And this is great. This is why I really like this feature when I use group work, because it's going to give every single student in a document a different color, and it will actually highlight what each person does in that document. And I can click on that, and I can go through and I can actually see exactly, so I see exactly what Alyssa was doing here, what she changed, and it's highlighted in her color. If I click on my name here, I can see exactly, I was changing around some spelling and making sure my capitalization was on point. But what I really want you to see is the fact that if I scroll through, notice that on these dates, so I started this document July 7th, I have a blank document, and then I continued working on the 27th, and I have a little drop down arrow. And now this is a document I wrote, and so I have a minute by minute account of what happened on that document. And really what that is showing is every time Google saves this document. So you can see I have sentence number 1, I'm fixing it, and you can literally click through a document and watch a student write as they go through. And now you know your students, you know how fast they type, and so 2 to 3 sentences would be the most I would expect to see, and I would also expect to see a lot of individual fixing things and single sentences, and because how much can you really do in a minute? And that's really the question that you're asking. And so I also want to see the fact that as I go through, I can see this document grow and evolve over the course of the writing process. And a lot of times I'll take a look at this just to see when the kids are doing the work. Are they up at 2 in the morning? And if that's the case, maybe I have a conversation about like time management or why they're up so late. But this really gives me great insight into what was going on in this document. and it takes away that argument. I hated it with group projects of, well, so-and-so did all the work and I didn't do any of it and I don't know what's going on, because I can jump in the version history and I can see exactly when everybody did something. And then we can have a conversation of, well, here's when your group members were doing it. What were you doing? But that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about plagiarism. So this is a document that clearly I wrote, and we can see the minute-by-minute evolution of this document. So now I'm going to jump into a different document, and this is a document that I indeed did plagiarize. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to click on where it says the last edit. And we notice that I did this all in one sitting. And I was up a little late, so maybe this is where I'd have that conversation with a student about what they were doing. So I'm going to go all the way, I'm going to scroll all the way down. So here I have my blank document. At 147, I had the first sentence. Okay, looks good. And then from 147 to 148, I got a whole bunch of writing done. Now, either I have some really, really fast fingers on the keyboard. I can type about 44 words a minute. This is a lot more than 44 words. And we can see the fact that as each minute went along, well, what did I do? Well, I continued typing on the paper. So I typed the beginning part, I typed the end part, but I copied this whole paragraph right here. Now, I happen to copy it from the plagiarism section of Wikipedia. And of course, if we look at when I first put it in there, there's hyperlinks and footnotes. And we can see as I go through, well, I started to remove all those, and I tried to change the font back, and hoping that my teacher wouldn't realize the fact that I had cut and pasted this. And the beautiful thing about, if I have a concern, as I'm reading this paper, I see the tone switches, and I'm concerned. In the days of yesteryear, I would have to take the student's paper and type it into the Google search. And now it's simple as easy as highlighting a section, right-clicking. I can copy, and then I can just drop it into Google. I'll drop it in the Omnibar, and of course we see the fact that we have a high rate of plagiarism from the plagiarism site on Wikipedia. So revision history is a great way, or version history is a great way of seeing what students did, especially if we're talking about group projects, but also to be aware for those large sections of text that appear all of a sudden in a very short time frame. That's when you might have a case of plagiarism. So I wanted to thank you for joining me today, and certainly leave any comments or reactions in the space below. And this is going to be part 1 of a 3-part video series that I'm going to be doing, talking about cheating and plagiarism and how to kind of catch it and prevent it in your classroom. So if you have some ideas or best practices and tips, definitely tell me about them. I'm always learning and want to learn more and hear about you and your classroom. So tell us in the comments below. Thank you so very much. Aaron for AOP Tech. Have a great day.